Every day, you're doing things for your dog that you think matter. The premium food, the new toys, the long weekend hikes. And those things are good. But here's what most people never realize. Your dog's love isn't built on grand gestures. It's built on micro moments so small, you've been walking past them your entire relationship. Your dog has been trying to tell you what really matters. And chances are, you've been looking in completely the wrong direction. Dogs don't experience love the way we do. They don't measure it in gifts or adventures or the size of your backyard. They measure it in something far more profound: the tiny exchanges of trust, predictability, and emotional safety that happen dozens of times each day. These moments are invisible to us. But to your dog, they're everything. They're the difference between a home and a place to sleep, between an owner and a person worth loving with their entire being. And the most beautiful part? Most of these moments cost nothing. They just require you to see what your dog has been showing you all along. Let's start with something you probably do wrong every single day. When your dog stops to smell during walks, you pull them along. You apologize to other walkers. You feel impatient because you have places to be. But here's what researchers in Norway discovered that changes everything. Those moments when your dog is sniffing aren't distractions. They're how your dog reads the emotional newspaper of their world. Every scent is information. Every pause is processing. Canine behaviorists in Oslo studied dogs across different walking styles and found something remarkable. Dogs who were allowed to follow scent trails at their own pace showed cortisol levels 43% lower than dogs who were hurried along. But it wasn't just about stress. It was about connection. The dogs who were given time to smell showed deeper bonding markers with their owners, not because the owners did more, because they allowed more. When you wait while your dog explores a scent, you're not wasting time. You're saying something profound. Your world matters to me. Your curiosity is valid. I see you as more than something I control. And your dog feels that permission in ways that transform your entire relationship. Now think about your morning routine. You probably believe your dog just wants breakfast and a quick trip outside. But watch more carefully tomorrow. Notice what happens when you deviate from your pattern. When you skip coffee and head straight for your shoes. When you forget to say good morning the way you usually do. When you leave 5 minutes earlier than normal. Your dog notices. And it unsettles them in ways you've been mistaking for randomness. Veterinary behaviorists in Oslo spent months studying how dogs respond to routine disruption. What they found was heartbreaking and beautiful. Dogs don't just prefer routine. They build their entire sense of safety around the predictability of your presence, the order you do things, the rhythm of your movements, the small rituals that signal you're still you. When those patterns break, even slightly, your dog's stress markers elevate, not because they're rigid or controlling, because predictability is how they know the world is stable. That study revealed something most owners never consider. Your dog doesn't need you to be exciting. They need you to be consistent. When you put on your shoes the same way every morning, when you say goodbye with the same phrase, when your coffee smells familiar, you're not being boring. You're building a language of safety that your dog can read without thinking. And that predictability isn't routine to them. It's love made visible through repetition. Here's something that might surprise you about how your dog shows affection. You've probably noticed they follow you from room to room, kitchen to bathroom, living room to bedroom, always nearby. But they don't always ask for attention. They don't always want to be touched or petted or played with. Sometimes they just lie down a few feet away and watch you. And you might think that's strange, that if they loved you, they'd want more interaction. But that's where we get dogs completely wrong. Research conducted on Norwegian working dogs revealed something that transforms how we understand canine love. Dogs who were allowed to practice proximity without interaction showed higher oxytocin levels, deeper sleep quality, and stronger bonding markers than dogs who received constant physical affection. Think about that. Your dog following you into the kitchen and lying down near the doorway isn't distance, it's intimacy. They're not waiting for something to happen. They're savoring the fact that nothing needs to. They don't need you to perform affection, they just need to know you're there. This kind of love, researchers found, is actually deeper than touch-based bonding. Because it's not transactional, It's not about getting something from you. It's about existing in your orbit, sharing space. Breathing the same air. When your dog chooses to be near you without demanding anything, that's trust in its purest form. And when you let that be enough, when you don't interpret their quietness as rejection, you're speaking their language fluently. Pay attention to your energy the next time something stressful happens. A loud noise, an unexpected visitor, a moment of chaos. Watch what your dog does. They're not just reacting to the event, they're reacting to you. Norwegian sled dog trainers have known this for generations, but science finally caught up. Researchers discovered that dogs synchronize their heart rates with their handlers within 60 seconds of close proximity. 60 seconds. That means your anxiety becomes their anxiety. Your calm becomes their calm. It's not just emotional mirroring, it's physiological. When you stay grounded during chaos, your dog's entire nervous system follows your lead. But when you panic, when you react with fear or frustration, your dog doesn't just observe that, they absorb it. This is why the calmest version of you is the safest version for them. It's not about never feeling stress. It's about how you hold yourself when stress arrives. Dogs who live with owners who practice emotional regulation, even imperfectly, show lower baseline anxiety, better sleep, and more confidence in unfamiliar situations. Your dog isn't asking you to be perfect. They're asking you to be steady. And every time you take a breath and choose calm over reaction, you're teaching them that the world is manageable, that they don't have to carry the weight of keeping everything safe, that you've got this. And that trust, that reliance on your steadiness, is one of the deepest forms of love they know. Finally, watch where your dog chooses to rest. You might think they just want to be on the couch or the bed or wherever you are. But notice what happens when you let them decide. When you don't call them over or pat the spot next to you. When you give them full permission to position themselves wherever feels right. Canine cognition researchers in Bergen, Norway, studied this exact behavior. They found that dogs allowed to select their own resting positions near their owners showed increased oxytocin production and significantly longer, deeper sleep cycles. The key word is near, not on, not always touching, near. Because dogs need agency just like we do. They need to feel like their choices matter. When your dog circles 3 times, lies down, then moves to a different spot, they're not being indecisive. They're calibrating comfort, temperature, sight lines, and emotional safety. And when you let them complete that process without interference, you're communicating something profound. I trust your instincts. Your needs are valid. You don't have to perform closeness to prove your love. This kind of freedom, researchers found, actually strengthens bonds more than forced proximity ever could. Because it tells your dog they're not just allowed in your space, they're respected within it. These 5 things probably feel small, almost dismissible. You might be thinking, that's it? Just let them smell, keep routines, give them space, stay calm, let them choose where to rest. But that's exactly why they matter. Because love in the canine world isn't measured in dramatic gestures or expensive purchases. It's measured in the quiet permission to exist fully, to be seen, to be understood without having to perform or prove anything. Your dog doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present, to notice, to honor the tiny ways they experience safety and connection. And every single time you wait while they sniff one more bush, every time you say good morning the same gentle way, every time you let them rest near you without demanding more, you're building something most people spend a lifetime searching for. A bond that doesn't need words. A love that lives in the spaces between heartbeats. But here's what you need to know. Those were just the first 5 things. The next 5 go even deeper. Because your dog doesn't just love you for what you do, they love you most for what you allow them to give you. Their protection, their intuition, their grief, their choice to stay. And understanding those final 5 things will change not just how you see your dog, but how you see yourself through their eyes. Which of these first 5 surprised you most about how your dog experiences your love? You've learned that your dog's love is built on small moments. The permission to smell, the predictability of your routine, the quiet space you share without needing to fill it. But now we need to talk about something deeper. Something that might make you see your entire relationship differently. Because your dog doesn't just love you for what you give them, they love you most for what you allow them to give you. And most of us have been refusing their gifts without even realizing it. Start paying attention to where your dog positions themselves when you're home, not just near you, but how they orient their body. You'll notice something fascinating. When someone knocks on the door, your dog moves between you and the sound. When a stranger approaches during walks, they shift slightly in front of you. When you're sitting on the couch and they settle nearby, they face the room, not the wall. You probably think this is just random dog behavior, maybe territorial instinct or mild anxiety. But researchers studying Norwegian search and rescue dogs discovered something that changes everything. Dogs who were prevented from performing protective positioning, even symbolic positioning, showed elevated stress markers and developed separation anxiety at significantly higher rates. Here's what that means. Your dog isn't being paranoid or aggressive when they place themselves between you and potential threats. They're doing the work their heart was designed for. They're fulfilling a purpose deeper than hunger or play. When you let them guard you, even when there's no real danger, even when it's just them standing between you and the mailman, you're honoring something sacred. You're saying, I see your instinct to protect me, and I trust it. Dogs who are allowed to practice this protective role, researchers found, show deeper bonds with their owners, lower anxiety during separations, and more confidence in unfamiliar environments. Because you've given them permission to do what love looks like in their language, to stand between you and uncertainty. To be useful in the most profound way they know. Now think about the people your dog refuses to like. You know the ones. The friend who's perfectly nice but your dog won't warm up to. The family member who offers treats but gets ignored. The neighbor who talks sweetly, but your dog stays tense around. You probably apologize for your dog's behavior. You make excuses. You wonder why they're being rude. But here's what animal behaviorists at research institutes in Trondheim discovered that will change how you see every relationship in your life. Your dog isn't reacting to those people's actions. They're reacting to their chemical signature. Dogs can detect micro-changes in human cortisol, adrenaline, and pheromone profiles that signal dishonesty, discomfort, or malicious intent, even when we're smiling politely, even when we're acting normal. Your dog reads what your politeness won't acknowledge. That person you feel slightly uncomfortable around but can't explain why? Your dog knows. That friend who says the right things, but something feels off. Your dog caught it 3 visits ago. They're not being difficult or antisocial. They're reading the truth your social conditioning has trained you to ignore. And here's the profound part. When you start trusting your dog's intuition about people, when you stop dismissing their wariness as random behavior, you're not just validating them, you're protecting yourself. Dogs whose owners respected their social intuitions, research showed, helped their humans avoid toxic relationships, manipulative individuals, and dangerous situations at rates that seemed almost impossible. Your dog has been trying to tell you who's safe and who's pretending. The question is whether you've been listening. And when you finally do, when you trust that low growl or that refusal to engage, you're saying something powerful. Your instincts matter. Your perception is valid. I trust you to read the world I can't always see clearly. Here's something most people find uncomfortable to acknowledge. Your dog grieves, not just when another pet dies, but when anyone leaves. A family member moving away, a friend who used to visit regularly, even a neighbor they saw every morning. And the way they process that loss is through something we barely understand: scent memory. Olfactory memory research conducted by Scandinavian veterinary psychologists revealed that dogs don't just remember people through sight or sound, they remember them through smell. And when someone leaves, your dog will return to the places where that being's scent lingers. Not frantically, not obsessively, quietly. They'll lie down in the corner where your grandmother used to sit. They'll press their nose to the coat of a friend who moved across the country. They'll return to the spot in the yard where another dog used to rest, and they'll stay there, sometimes for just a moment, sometimes for an hour, just breathing in what remains. They're not searching, they're remembering, and that remembering is how they process loss. Most owners don't recognize this behavior as grief. They think their dog is confused or acting strange. But when you see it for what it is, when you don't rush them away from those scent-soaked spaces, when you let them have their moment of quiet remembering, you're doing something extraordinary. You're validating their emotional depth. You're acknowledging that their love for others was real, and their loss is real, and their need to honor that loss deserves respect. Dogs whose grief was witnessed and allowed, rather than dismissed or redirected, showed healthier long-term emotional regulation and maintained stronger bonds with their remaining family. Because you taught them that their feelings matter. That love doesn't have to be convenient or comfortable to be honored. Pay attention the next time your dog brings you a toy. Really watch what happens. They approach with something in their mouth, maybe a ball, maybe a rope, maybe that squeaky thing they've had for years. They drop it at your feet or hold it out to you, and then they wait. You might think they just want to play, and maybe they do. But Norwegian Shepherd dog trainers who studied this behavior discovered something deeper. When a dog initiates play and you respond, even briefly, you're not just providing entertainment. You're answering a question they ask every single day. Do you still choose me? Play for dogs isn't just exercise or fun. It's a daily referendum on your relationship. Every time they bring you that toy, they're offering you their most sacred possession and asking if you still want to engage with their world. Dogs whose play invitations were honored at least 70% of the time showed significantly higher trust markers, lower separation anxiety, and more secure attachments to their owners. But here's what matters most. It's not about the length of play. It's about the response. Even 30 seconds of genuine engagement, of eye contact and shared focus and playful energy, tells your dog what they need to know. That you're still present, still interested, still choosing them, even when life gets busy or exhausting or overwhelming. And when you ignore those invitations too often, when you wave them away or say not now without following through later, your dog doesn't just feel disappointed. They feel unseen. Because that toy at your feet isn't a request, it's an offering. And every time you accept it, even briefly, you're renewing a promise that matters more to them than you probably realize. Finally, think about how you leave your home. Not just that you leave, but how you do it. Your energy, your ritual, the last thing you say, because your dog isn't just watching you go. They're reading whether you're coming back as the same person who left. Research on Norwegian elkhounds revealed something that explains so much anxious behavior that owners misunderstand. Dogs experience their highest stress not during long absences, but during unpredictable ones. Not when you leave for 8 hours, but when you leave angry, distracted, without saying goodbye. When your energy is chaotic or cold or disconnected, because dogs don't understand time the way we do. They can't reassure themselves that you'll be home at 5:30. All they have is pattern and emotional signature. When you leave the same way every time, when you say goodbye with consistency and warmth, when your energy is steady even if you're running late, you're giving them a template they can trust. You're teaching them that doors that close also open. That separation isn't abandonment. That the person who walks out will be the same person who walks back in. But when you leave in anger or rush out without acknowledgement or slam the door in frustration, your dog can't process that. They don't know if you're coming back. And even if you do, they don't know if you're coming back safe. Research showed that dogs whose owners maintained consistent goodbye and hello rituals, regardless of absence duration, had 60% lower stress markers during alone time and showed more confident, secure behavior overall. It's not about never leaving. It's about leaving in a way that doesn't break their trust in your return. Your dog doesn't need you to stay home always. They need to know that when you go, you're still you. And when you come back, you're still the person they chose to love. So here's what all 10 of these things really tell us. Your dog's love isn't about perfection or expensive care or grand adventures. It's about presence. It's about consistency. It's about the radical act of seeing them as emotional beings whose inner world deserves the same respect we give to humans we love. Every time you wait while they smell one more spot. Every time you keep your morning ritual the same. Every time you let them rest where they choose. Every time you honor their instinct to protect. Every time you trust their read on people. Every time you witness their grief. Every time you respond to their invitation to play. Every time you leave and return with steady energy. You're speaking a language most people never learn to speak fluently. You're building a bond that transcends training or tricks or obedience. You're creating something rare, a relationship where love doesn't have to be earned or performed or proven. It just gets to exist. Quietly. Completely. In all the small ways that matter most. Which of these 10 things surprised you most about how your dog experiences love? Because your dog has been speaking this language all along. If you want to understand more of what they've been trying to tell you, stay for the quiet truths that live between the heartbeats. Your dog would want you to know.